What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have a special guest. We've got Mr. Rob Salvo of Kaleidescape. What's up, Rob?
How you guys doing? Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you are from the Poconos, and I was saying I was also from the Poconos as well at one point in my life. So we're gonna talk about Kaleidescape today and what makes it so special. And let's first tell the audience that Kaleidoscape is not a streaming platform of any way, shape, or
Yep,
form. So
correct.
download, yeah. So go
Correct.
ahead,
Yeah,
explain
so
that.
we're unique when trying to create the most cinematic experience at home. And unfortunately, as things and times have changed over the last 10 or 15 years, streaming has become kind of ubiquitous everywhere, and our product is something different. And we've been around. We're going to celebrate our 20th anniversary this coming February, which we're excited about. But where we are today is different than where we were 20 years ago. And unlike streaming services, we basically have a partnership with all the major motion picture studios as well as the micro studios, and we deliver the highest quality video download that, in most cases, is at least as good as the Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray disc, and in some cases better because we have access to the mezzanine file, which is supplied to us directly by the studio, and we curate it and create our own version, which is as close to the original as possible, meaning lossless audio, lossless video, true Dolby, true HD with Atmos, DTS HD master with DTSX, which is as you know, a very large file, and we can deliver that in a downloadable fashion directly to our Strato product and create the most cinematic experience without having to go to a shiny disc or trying to lose quality in terms of video and audio from one of the streaming services. So that's in a nutshell who we are.
So when you get the the mezzanine file, do they say, "Listen, you guys got to keep it within like 100 gigs or less," or can you just say, "We're just gonna do whatever"?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So unlike with a disc, we don't have to vary that bit rate. So when we produce a larger movie, and I like to use the movie from a few years ago, uh, you know uh, Avengers Endgame, which is 3 hours, over 3 hours long. We don't have that limitation of it because it is a direct download to the server that's inside the Strato product, which will reside in your home. So there's no limitation. So if it needs to be 105 gigs, it's going to be 105 gigs so that we maximize the quality of the image so that there's no variable bit rate as they're encoding it, which they have to do with a shiny disk. So
Yeah,
again, Endgame is 105. So that's one of the benefits with us is that we do not have that ceiling, regardless of whether it's 66 gigs for what they do on most of these Blu-rays, or in the rare case that the studio deems that it's a 100 gig viable title. We don't have those limitations.
wouldn't it be a good idea just to keep everything at least 100 gigs or more?
It really depends. There's a rule of thumb that we try to follow, and that is never make the picture and the video, sacrifice for storage. But at the same time, we want to be efficient and necessitate being able to have as much content available to a customer that owns a Strato. Because again, like I said, the Strato comes in a couple of flavors, 6 terabytes or 12 terabytes. And if it's 6 terabytes, that's on an average about 100 4K titles, and you can grow and expand that by adding additional storage. But we don't want to get crazy because you're right; it's a slippery slope. We could make it 300-400 gigs depending on
Yeah.
how far you can go. But we try to balance the best possible cinematic experience without having to worry about those limitations, and that averages somewhere between 85 and 120 gigs, depending on 2 hour to 2.5 hour movie in some cases. Hour movie.
Mm. And here, I've noticed some Blu-rays, some HDs are actually bigger than the 4K ones. Why is that?
It really depends on special features. So when you look at the on our store, sometimes they're larger because all of our special features are attached to the HD file of a title. So, for example, Avengers Endgame, which I'll use again, has a large amount of extra features, making of, documentary, behind the scenes, and we always attach those to the HD file. So when the customer purchases the HDR or UHD version, it includes the HD, and that gets downloaded along with it if you would like to, which
Right.
will then include all of your special features.
What about IMAX scenes? Like not all movies have it. Like I
You
think
mean
Tenet has the expandable aspect ratio
correct?
on the disc, but I don't
Correct.
think yours has it. Am I correct on that?
It does not. It does not. That was a creative choice that was decided by our content team, and that may change. We're always doing things that's unique. If, for example, as you download, for example, like Tenet, in a few weeks' time, there's a possibility that there'll be an update to it. So
Mhm.
over the course of time, we do better encodes of movies, and just recently, updates. There's an update field there. So when we do improvements to picture quality, we add extra special features. Those will come up in the updates tab, and you can update those and then charge for that. That's one of the cool things that we do from a content standpoint. We're always improving things, and every time we do that, that filters through to the latest version of a particular title that will show up in your updates folder on your store.
I do like this little feature. Like you can like this is the store like for you guys watching on the stream. Like this is the store here. It'll give you like all this information. Give you all the audio tracks here, available subtitles. I think it's pretty cool. You give the disc size as well, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah, really,
Um,
it's important for us to kind of give as much information as possible. And then also, as you see, we also have all the bookmarked scenes up there, which is something that we're very, 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 very proud of. That's not just chapters. Those are any movie from Casablanca to Tenant to Lord of the Rings has kind of anywhere from 5 to 10 scenes that really truly encapsulate a film. And we've gone through and we've curated that. Our content management team does a really, really good job of that. So sometimes you want to sit down and jump right to that really famous scene, and you can really do that, which is pretty impressive. Obviously, we include the Rotten Tomatoes. You can watch the trailers right there. The other thing that's not as used as much as I think people really don't know what it is, but it's the common sense media. And if you have young children, it really does a great job of giving you the information about what's in that movie and what you should be aware of. So if you have an 8-year-old, maybe they shouldn't be watching movies that kind.
yeah,
And
yeah.
speaking from a guy who's got a couple of kids, it's very beneficial, very helpful.
Hey, are the chapters on your movies the same as the physical disc?
No, nope,
Oh, they're different.
no,
Okay.
they're different. Yeah, they're different. In some cases they are, but in a lot of cases they're not. So we try to keep them as close as we can, but we try to be as mindful as to when they should start.
Right, right, right. So Kaleidoscape, definitely one of the most beloved players or hated players, I think, because of the price.
Sure.
Can you explain why it's priced the way it's priced?
So, in order for us to provide the level of content and the way we provide that content, uh, it takes a lot of work and time and dedication to create the best cinematic experience for each individual title. And part of the things that I mentioned before at the beginning of the session, it's not like just taking the physical disc and putting it into a server and then allowing the customer to download it. That's not what we do. It's curated content. It's created in a way so that the best possible experience is translated to you. And in order for us to do that, our product, our hardware, is necessary to give you access to that. And we're actually pretty happy with where our pricing is, because you're getting the best possible source content experience that you can have at home, bar none. There's no other way to experience that. And
Yeah.
we've removed all of the limitations, and that's what we're really proud of that.
And for you guys that don't quite understand that, it is a premium product. It is like the best AV quality. It's not something that you're getting your 4K Blu-rays, you're ripping it on your computer. You got to wait for an hour or more to do that. You're not going to put it in your Plex. You're not going to have it transcoded. You're not going to get a little NVIDIA shield, set that up to read it off your NAS drive. You don't have to set up a NAS drive. You don't have to do any of that. This is simply just a really easy solution to get the best quality from your AV audio system, video system. So all that other stuff, like I always hear this all the time. Shane, why do you have a Kaleidoscape or a 𝗞𝗔𝗘𝗜𝗘? Why do you have both? Well, because I don't want to do all this work. I got a Kaleidoscape because it's easy. I don't have time to be setting up Plex servers, all this other garbage. That's a lot. That's a lot of wasted time. And for the people that just want convenience at the utmost best quality, that's where Kaleidoscape slots in. That's why it's priced the way it is. Kind of like, like a Ferrari's priced the way it's priced. It's like the best vehicle you can get.
And kind of alluding to that, one of the things that we have that you can't get anyplace else is there's several hundreds of titles that are available in our store in uncompressed native 4K that you cannot find on any other place. A perfect example of that is one of my favorite movies of all time. Listen, I'm an Italian guy that grew up in Jersey. Okay, so one of my favorite movies is going to be Rocky. I love Rocky. And Rocky we have in 4K HDR on our store. You can't buy it. You can buy it from some of the streaming services, but you're not getting it in lossless audio and the video that we provide. And there's a ton of titles like that. Princess Bride, Silence of the Lambs. It is a huge amount. Pretty Pink. We just put up Trading Places and what's coming soon. I can talk about it. Golden Child in 4K HDR, not available on physical disc. Same with Trading Places, but it's available in the Kaleidoscape store. And at this point, we were almost at 400 titles that fit within that category. And these are movies that you want. They're not some esoteric nature video where as a train goes by 15 minutes. This is content that you want to have and that you want to be able to have in the highest resolution. And we're the only place to get it. So that's only going to grow and grow and grow as 2020 has sped up the demise of physical media. It's made it even faster.
I get the comment too, like you're pricing movies higher just because you can make a bigger profit, but I would assume like some of that price that gets incurred on these titles are probably studios. Like you got to pay for studio licensing deals and stuff like that.
The studios dictate where our pricing is, and it's following the physical format. In terms of what obviously each studio is more aggressive than others. And, whether it's Sony, Lionsgate, Paramount, all of them have different pricing structures. And, obviously Warner Brothers and Paramount are kind of top of the food chain there, but we're actually kind of happy with where our pricing is. The most expensive title you'll find is about 36, but those are kind of few and far between. The average price is between $18 and $25, and for what you're getting, it's as good, if not better, than the physical media. So I think it commands that kind of price point. But again, nothing is more than 36, and that's really only Warner Brothers and Paramount, and that's it. Even Disney is below that. Disney averages about 26 to $30 for their 4K content.
So like how Netflix has deals with big studios, obviously you guys have deals with studios. Is there any point where, like say The Office is going to go away at the end of the month on Netflix?
Right.
Would you have any titles on your service where it would get pulled?
So that's rare. Every contract is different because we follow a purchased a la carte model. Once the content title is purchased, it's in your system and in your collection. It doesn't go away. Unlike a streaming service. But again, it's really up to the studios to decide when things come or go. But that's rare because of the way that we are an a la carte service. Netflix and some of the all-you-can-eat streaming services are a little different in the way that their contracts are structured, where things can come and go much more regularly. Ours, it's a little different. But again, that's really at the whim of the studios.
Right. And you are the only service that offers like bit perfect downloadable movies. Am I correct on that?
We are the only ones that do that, and that's an incredible thing. We're the only directly deliverable studio content that is bit for bit lossless, and in some cases, actually, in most of the 4K services, content, it's better. So because we're not limited to that physical disc ceiling.
Why do you think that is? Like you guys have been around for like 20 years. Why is there nobody else doing that? Why is it just one? Was just one player?
Well, this is a good example of, because we've been in business for 20 years and we have some of the most experienced engineers. Our original model and what we originally wanted to do back in 2001, when Sheena and Mike started the company, they originally wanted to be a downloadable service, but at the time, if you think about where the technology was in terms of broadband in 2001, it just wasn't there. So we kind of said, okay, what's Plan B? And Plan B was to become the best service to basically import your disk-based content. But we also wanted to be able to develop the best user experience, and that's just kind of developed over time. And a lot of we realized that none of the companies had the engineering chops to do what we do, and it was all about the best quality deliverable, and we were able to do that. Most companies just don't want to spend the time and dedication we have. We're really, really happy.
Speaking of Warner Brothers, with a lot of their movies going straight to streaming day and date with theatrical releases, are you going to be able to offer those movies in the same time as a downloadable?
At this time, we don't know. And it seems to be, as is everything with 2020. It's a moving target. Obviously, we'd love to be able to offer as much as we can. And I just said, I would say, tune in to see where this goes in 2021. I think this is uncharted territory for every major motion picture studio. So we are in constant negotiations with all of the studios. So it's an exciting and big time thing. I think 2021 is going to be an interesting year, and I think it's going to be a very, very good year, definitely for Kaleidescape, as is for the movie industry, as they restructure and redesign how they look at the experience. And now that movie theaters are not quite as prevalent because people are, don't want to go, and I understand, we're a great place to go for that cinematic experience at home, unlike some of the other streaming services. So all I would say is it's an exciting future, and I think that there's some bright things on the horizon.
That's cool. I mean, I think it'd be a big win if you could do that. Get Wonder Woman and Fizzle. On Kaleidescape.
Again, really. It's going to be an exciting 2020.
Is there anything like, I remember, what was it, Ultraviolet? Back in the day, I think you used to be able to redeem codes and then just have the movies downloaded on the Kaleidescape. Is there anything like that? Movies Anywhere, maybe?
We were part of Ultraviolet when that started, several years ago. Obviously there's the current Movies Anywhere, but we're not part of Movies Anywhere. Again, it's like a digital locker. I think that the industry is going to shake through that a little bit, and I think maybe in a few years that may be a little different. But right now we have no plans on being part of Movies Anywhere. We do have a very, very great disc to digital program that's unique to Kaleidescape, and that allows a customer or an end user that has a large disc-based library to do a process called cataloging, and allows them to catalog those titles into their store account, and then for a discounted dollar amount, it varies depending on the studio, convert those to the digital Kaleidescape version, and in most cases upgrade those. So they may be able to convert a DVD all the way to 4K if it's available to them, and it's at a significantly discounted price. And we're the only ones that do this. Some of the streaming services in the past have done this, but they've all let those go away. But we've kind of embraced that, so to kind of reinvigorate a customer's existing disc collection, and they can move on from it and move fully into the Kaleidescape ecosystem.
If you've already got like Lord of the Rings on Blu-ray previously, do you get a free update? Do you got to repay for the full 4K version? Is there a discount on that?
Using our disc to digital program, you can get upgraded at a discounted rate. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Each studio is different in terms of that pricing model. But again, Lord of the Rings is a good example. We definitely do those. Yep.
So let's talk about your players.
Sure.
What's the beginner level here? The Strato?
Strato S. Yeah. So the Strato S, we first developed the original Strato back in 2015. And the difference with the Strato S is we made it more slender. That's what the S stands for, slim. So it's only about 1U rack height, so it's very small. It comes in 2 flavors. Either a 6 terabyte or a 12 terabyte. And it allows you to either store 100 4K titles or 200 4K titles. A lot more Blu-ray and HD quality titles, a lot more SD titles, and that allows you to have playback and availability in one location. You can have a second one in another location of your home and double your storage and double your viewing experience. That's basically the starting point for our product.
And we got the Strato C.
Strato C. Now the Strato C is a cool player because the C means compact, and that allows you to add. Say maybe you're perfectly content with your 12 terabytes of storage, but you might want to add it to another room in your home. You can actually add the Strato C player in maybe a master bedroom and have access as long as it's on the same network in the house. You can access all of that content on your Strato S in another room. It also comes into play when we move on to the next product. So Terra Server is our big guy. That comes either 24 terabytes or 40 terabytes. That does not have a player built into it. So it's designed for two applications. First application is maybe someone starts with a Strato 6 or Strato 12, and they want to add content to their they've already eaten up their other library, and they basically, all this needs is network and power. It can be in a rack, it can be hidden someplace, and now you've either doubled or tripled or quadrupled your storage size, and you can add this, and you can add these as many as you want. But the bigger and the best configuration is if someone wants multiple locations. Maybe they want 4 locations in the home. Maybe they have a theater room, a master bedroom. You can do a Terra server and just do Strato Cs, and you don't even need to have a Strato S at all. And that's actually better when you're doing multiple zones. One of the other cool things about the Terra movie server is that it can write to its hard drives faster than the Strato S. So in most cases, as you know, around the country, people have gigabit internet speeds. At home, I have Fios. And this can actually download at anywhere from 400 to 750 megabits per second. So that means you can download a 4K movie in anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So if you don't have a Terra movie server and you have a Strato S in one room and a Strato C in another room, can you have different movies on each player but still link them up together?
Correct. So you can watch 2 completely independent movies, and you can even watch the same movie at a different point in time. So if I started watching Trading Places in the main theater room and I'm about halfway through the movie, somebody else can be in the family room and start Trading Places at the very beginning of the movie, and they will operate that way. Once you get past 2 zones, though, there's some limitations to that. So we always tell people that if you're going to do maybe just 2, you can have a Strato S and a Strato C. But once you get past 3 zones, you want to do a Terra and multiple Strato Cs so that you can play back as much as 8 different titles all off of that Terra server all at the same time.
So you don't have to have Trading Places on both machines in order to watch it, 2 different locations.
It's independent. It's completely. So if you have a Strato S, a Strato C, keep in mind, does not have any storage internally. It's just a player. So it's accessing the content that's on the Strato S. If you have a Strato S and you add a Terra server, it's seamlessly integrated, so the system really doesn't differentiate from content that's on the Strato S storage or the Terra server storage. So it's seamlessly integrated.
All right, so if you have 2 Strato S's, I've got Batman on one, but I don't have Batman on the other one. Can the one that doesn't have Batman read it from the original?
Correct. It's just, so if say you had 2 Strato S 6 terabytes and you put them on the same system, you now have 12 terabytes of total storage, and it's seamlessly integrated together. You, from an interface standpoint, have no idea whether it's on one or the other. It's seamlessly.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. That's a cool feature.
But like I said, once you get past 2, it doesn't work that way. You need to have Terra and Strato C.
Right. Is there going to be Dolby Vision coming anytime soon?
It's something I know we would be pursuing, but at this time,
no. Would that require new hardware, or you think?
Most likely.
Yeah. Any IMAX enhanced titles coming? Bad Boys for Life. Charlie's Angels?
So yes, at this point, it's something we'd be actively pursuing, but I can't give you any information about that.
How many players can you have on one account?
Players or location? That's an interesting question because that's the kind of two things. So players meaning in the same home on the same network,
Yeah.
or maybe multiple houses.
I guess either or.
Okay, so inside a home, you can have as many as you really want. Yeah, it really, say you had a home that had 15 or 25 rooms, you could have one Terra server and 15 or 20 Strato seats. The only limitation, and that's just considered one movie store account because you're all on the same network internally. The difference with that is you'd be limited to the amount of times in movies that you could be watching, which would be 8 at the same time. Now, what we do though is also you could have 5 homes. So say someone has a house, maybe has a beach house, or you could have a Strato S in your main home and a Strato S in your beach home, and that's considered 2 separate systems, but it can be on the same account. So all the movies that you buy for the main house will automatically be mirrored to your other location, and that can be done up to 5 homes.
What I had a question about audio. Is it the same exact audio as what you would get on a physical disc?
Yes.
So bit for bit, exactly the same.
Bit for bit, exactly.
Okay. And what else we got here? So do you guys use SSDs or just standard
No,
hard drives?
standard. Currently, it's standard hard. Yep.
What is the failure rate on those hard drives?
It's very, very, very low. Our failure rate at this point, I believe, is about 99.5% reliability on the Strato. It's we use a particular hard drive that's supplied to us that's really bulletproof. So the failure rate's very low, especially the build quality that goes into it. Everything is built in California. Nothing is built outside the United States. Our factory is down the street from our headquarters in California, which we're pretty proud of. So it allows us to be very nimble and also monitor and maintain our quality control. That's very important for us.
What's the warranty on each one?
3 years.
3 years?
It's extendable to 5 if desired.
I had a couple of questions here in the chat. Usually I can pop them up here. It's not working for some reason. But let's see. I saw a couple. Are you going to expand to regions outside of the US, like Canada and the UK?
Okay, so we are currently available in Canada. We have a store in Canada. You can buy the product in Canada just like you can in the United States. There are different licensing agreements for different studios, but the Canadian store is pretty close to the United States store in its breadth of catalog titles. We are available in the United Kingdom. We have a store in the online movie store in the United Kingdom, but it's a little bit more limited. But we're actively pursuing more and more content for the UK. Outside the United States, it's a little bit more difficult because you have to make individual studio agreements with the studios for each particular territory. Eventually, we will get there, but right now it's primarily the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom.
There was a question here. How well is Kaleidescape doing financially? Because you guys closed down for like 2 days or something in the past. How's that looking?
Yeah, that was back in 2016. Right now, we've expanded more than we've ever have. This 2020, believe it or not, I know a lot of people have struggled through this year. This has been one of the best years for us. Everybody's making their homes their castle, and that goes right into line with making the cinematic experience the best it possibly can be at home. So we're excited about where we're going, and financially, this is the best we've ever been. And I've been with the company for about 4.5 years, and this is a very, very exciting time. I really love what I do, and I love working for the company. And financially, we're incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been around for like 2 decades now, so.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about. I can't believe that 2001 was 20 years ago at this point, like almost. That's nuts. I'm getting old.
Yeah, I remember when I put up the review, people were like, "These guys aren't going to last because they're like new." I was like, "No, these guys have been around for like 20 years, man. Half my life."
Yep. Yeah, and
Um,
most of the guys that work for Kaleidescape were nuts. We're enthusiasts. So I personally on my system, I had a system before I came to work for Kaleidescape. So I was an enthusiast before that, and all of us love our product and use it daily. So that helps because it's not just a job for us; it's kind of a vocation because we love movies, we love concerts, television, and we want to basically we want to share that with the world. My system, I have about 4,000 movies on my system right now. And I don't know how the hell I have time to watch any of them, but I just know that they're there and that's important.
is the Terra server set up in RAID? If so, what RAID?
No, it's not. It doesn't need to be. So our previous generation of product, the Premier line, was RAID backed up because you could import disks to it. With the Terra servers, as with the Strato, all content has to come from our store. So if the Terra were to fail, or if the Strato were to fail, all you do is re-download the content from our store at no charge. So it's all cataloged and kept in the cloud at Kaleidescape store. So there's really very little need for it to be RAID backed up.
Do you guys have any plans for rentable downloads?
It's something that we're actively pursuing. And at some point we may get there. But right now we don't have that available on the store.
What is your employee discount? No, I'm just kidding. Somebody asked that. Somebody asked that. Um, is there is there an app or anything if you wanted to watch remotely one of the movies on your system?
So we do have an app. It's the Kaleidescape app. It's available on the iOS or Android platforms. It allows you to, buy movies, look at your collection, watch trailers before you purchase movies, do all of those kind of cool things. But currently, it doesn't let you stream remotely your content. I don't know if we would ever do that in the future because that's a completely different thing. But as it stands right now, it does not allow you to do that.
Are there going to be maybe like a more affordable player, smaller player at all, or at least a monthly, at least a monthly payment option?
Well, I think no, I was going to be flippant with that. I shouldn't say Visa and American Express do that now, but that's not. I don't want to say. I'm kidding. Um, right now, there's really no plans for a less expensive product. Right now, at the Strato 6 seems to be priced for perfectly for what it is. Maybe in the future, we might be. I can't rule anything out, but currently, we don't have any plans for a less expensive player.
I'll just give a shout out to our friend Robert at Value Electronics. They do offer financing available at valueelectronics.com. Tell them that Shane sent you from Spare Change. Is there going to be any support for 8K?
As of stands right now, no. As you guys know, there really is no 8K content. Most of the films that are released aren't even filmed in 8K.
Yeah,
They
no.
have to do completely brand new telecine transfers of all of the older movies. I think the only movie that exists in digital form somewhere on a server someplace, probably at Sony, is Lawrence of Arabia at 8K, at a scan native 8K of that 70 millimeter print. But as it stands, there's no content. Maybe in 5 or 10 years, there might be some content to offer. But we'd love to pursue that when it's really a viable thing. But I will say this, that if you buy that brand new Samsung or Sony 8K television and you hook up a Strato to it, that's the best that television is going to look, bar none. There's no other source that will make that 8K look that good.
Can older 12 terabyte or 24 terabyte Terra be upgraded to a 40 terabyte variant?
No, no.
Why isn't the max size Terra 48 terabyte to be in line with the 4 by 12 terabyte drives that are used in the Strato S?
Okay, that. Say it again. I'm just trying to say that.
Yeah, I don't know. So why isn't the max size Terra 48 terabyte to be in line with the 4X 12 terabyte drives? Like, is it the same drives?
Okay. Yeah, no, I understand the question. It's kind of, yeah. Okay. So basically, we source our drives a specific way. We basically get them, and we basically make sure that they're going to be as reliable as possible. The way to get to that 99.5% reliability rate is we need to specifically pick the right drives. And the spacing that we get are 6 terabyte drives and 10 terabyte drives. So basically, if you put 4 6s, you get your 24. If you put 4 10s, you get 40. So in order for us to get to 48, we'd have to do something different. So that's why it's 24 and 40, because we're sourcing 6 terabyte drives, 4 of them, or we're using 4 10 terabyte drives. That's how we did our math.
Now, isn't there one of the features? Yeah, like your players can work with like a Lumigen, right, where it switches aspect ratio automatically.
Yes. So works with a Lumigen. It also can work with most control systems. It's because we add metadata information to all of our content. So we include both, the aspect ratio as well as the beginning and the end of the film. So if you have a control system in your home that maybe has a Crestron Savant Control 4, a lawn, it'll actually have triggers that can tell your projector to adjust aspect ratio automatically. So if you have a masking screen or a lens sled from Panamorph, it'll tell it, hey, listen, this is a 235 movie. Open the masking, slide the sled, all those things automatically. And also, it can ping the system to bring up the house lights as soon as the credits roll. So we call those your digital projectionist. So it just adds that one extra step of customizable sophistication to your system, so that you don't have to even think about it. If you use, as you know, a streaming product, you have to do all that manually. None of that metadata is attached where it is on all of our content.
Is there any way to upgrade the hard drives yourself?
No.
In any of the players? No.
No.
So they're all proprietary to that particular. Right. And shout out to Brian Lasker for the $5 super chat. I don't have time to watch this now. Please save this on your channel. Yes, Brian, we will save it on the channel so you could watch it later. I know you guys had some new management over there recently. Is there anything exciting going to happen that you can share with the people?
It's a new time. It's an exciting roadmap. I think in the next 3 to 4 months, you're going to see some really interesting things from us, from a marketing standpoint and from overall conceptual things. No hardware. All the hardware is pretty much lock solid. All of our software is what always is consistently changing and developing, which is great. But it's exciting times for us. We're looking forward to the future, and it's really been a great few months, even though obviously people have been suffering from the pandemic. But it's been a really, really great time for us, and the future is very bright.
Yeah, man, I love the Kaleidoscape. I think I've been using it a lot more since I've been home. What else we got here? Yeah. All right. So once again, we're just going to reiterate the fact that the Kaleidoscape is not a streaming device whatsoever. You are downloading the movies onto hard drives that reside on the Kaleidoscape. And how is it compared to Plex? Since it's better than Plex, you don't have to do any work for it. And the quality of downloads are going to be better than you transcoding movies again over to Plex. I don't think people take that into consideration.
Right. But, and we're not MKV files, whereas Plex is primarily MKV files. So there's whereas no matter what you do to an MKV file, there is compression architecture in place.
But yeah, man, I think that wraps it up. I think I got all my questions in. We answered some questions from the audience. Rob?
Awesome. My pleasure. A lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Thanks for stopping by. Guys, be sure to check out this. If you want to listen to the audio portion of this, I'll put it on the podcast as well, iTunes, what have you. But thanks for joining us. Hopefully, if you got something else new in the future, you'll come back on. We'll chat again. Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.
Take care, guys.